All right, let's just dive right into it. Welcome to this explainer. Today we're unpacking a concept that is going to fundamentally flip how you view success, failure, and basically everything in between. We constantly hear that pressure is the ultimate enemy of elite performance, right? But what if it's not? Today we're looking at some seriously compelling evidence that suggests the greatest barrier isn't pressure at all. It's actually identity itself. We're going to explore how tying our self-worth to our achievements might literally be the very thing holding us back.
To really wrap our heads around this, let's start with a story. I want you to picture a young football player who had exactly one dream his entire life: to wear his country's national jersey. This wasn't just some casual weekend hobby for him. This was his entire universe. Think about the sheer dedication here. 15 years. 15 years of sacrificing absolutely everything to run drills while his friends were sleeping or out celebrating. And then, finally, that first day arrives. He's standing in front of a mirror wearing that national jersey for the very first time. He looks at himself and thinks, I finally became somebody. He wore it with so much pride, the media called him a hero, and everything was just perfect. Until one random afternoon. A single twisted knee during a crucial match. And then, just a few days later, the doctors deliver a truly crushing blow. He can never play professional football again. Just like that, a lifetime of dedication is wiped out in an instant. Now, obviously, anyone would be devastated after news like that. That's just human. But the strange part was what happened next. He completely shut down. He stopped meeting friends, stopped talking to his family, couldn't sleep. He truly believed his life was entirely over. Well, one day, his coach comes to visit him. Seeing this total devastation, the coach looks right at him and asks this incredibly profound question. Tell me, what exactly have you lost? And without skipping a beat, the player replies, my life. The coach just smiled, and he offered this gentle but incredibly piercing realization. He told him, you lost football. You didn't lose yourself. He pointed out that the player hadn't just lost a sport. He had completely merged his entire sense of self with a piece of fabric. Somewhere along the way, he stopped wearing the jersey and started believing he was the jersey. So I really want you to ask yourself today, what jersey are you wearing right now? Maybe it's your business. Maybe it's your job title, your medals, your social media followers. Maybe it's your successes. Or honestly, even more dangerously, maybe it's your failures. Because the truth is, we all wear a jersey. Section 1, the illusion of labels. To really understand why we tie ourselves to these jerseys so tightly, we need to zoom out a bit. Over a century ago, there was a philosopher who pinpointed exactly why the human mind does this. Over 100 years ago, Swami Vivekananda made a statement that genuinely shocked people. He said that all of these labels, our imperfections, our titles, our roles, are hallucinations. Hallucinations? Think about the weight of that word. Now, he wasn't saying your physical body doesn't exist or that your actual profession isn't real. He was challenging us with something much deeper. Who are you without all of those labels? If you say, I am an athlete, sure, that's fine. But if a single injury completely destroys your inner peace, well, maybe you became only an athlete. This really brilliantly illustrates the core issue here. The suffering doesn't actually begin when we lose something. It begins when we believe that we are that thing. Take the statement, my startup failed. That is just an objective fact, right? An event. But the mind takes that completely neutral event and morphs it into a toxic identity. I am a failure. Notice how the event didn't change, only the identity did. That jump? That is the exact hallucination Vivekananda was warning us about. Section 2, the science of identity. Okay, let's dive into the modern science that actually backs up this ancient wisdom, because it turns out psychology and neuroscience have mapped out exactly how this hallucination operates inside your physical brain. The crucial point here revolves around a psychological concept known as identity fusion, and this is exactly what happened to our football player. When your entire identity gets completely attached to one single role, your brain literally stops separating what you do from who you are. You fuse with the outcome. When you win, you are a winner. When you lose, your fundamental worth as a human being feels completely destroyed. And neuroscience adds another really fascinating piece to the puzzle here through something called the default mode network, or DMN. This is basically the brain network that's constantly generating self-stories. It's a scientific name for that annoying inner voice that keeps you awake at 2 a.m. whispering things like, what if I fail? Or Am I actually good enough? But here's the kicker. During states of flow, which is exactly what elite athletes tap into when they're just playing and not overthinking, the activity of this specific network actually quiets right down. So to combat this identity fusion and finally quiet down that noisy default mode network, psychologists use a super powerful tool called cognitive diffusion. It's a key technique used in acceptance and commitment therapy. And honestly, it just relies on making a tiny linguistic change in how you talk to yourself, which ends up creating a massive amount of emotional distance between you and your thoughts. Section 3. The space between thoughts. Let's actually slow things down for a second. I don't just want to tell you about this stuff. I want us to practice it together, right now, in real time. So, wherever you are right now, if it is safe to do so, just close your eyes for a moment. Take one really slow breath in and slowly breathe out. Now, I just want you to observe your mind. Don't try to change anything. Don't force anything. Just watch your mind work as I guide you through this. As you're observing, maybe a thought pops up. Something like, man, I have too much work. Simply notice it. Maybe another one drifts by. What if I fail? Just notice it. Or maybe, I am nervous. Don't fight the thoughts. Just notice them floating past you like clouds. Now, I want you to silently repeat this phrase to yourself about whatever thought just popped into your head. This is a thought. Really notice the distinction there. You are not saying, this is me. You are recognizing that the thought is an object entirely separate from your actual identity. Now, shift your focus back to your breathing and ask yourself this profound question. If the thoughts are over there and you are over here noticing them, who is watching these thoughts? The thoughts just keep changing, right? Flowing in, flowing out, but the observer, you, remains completely constant and totally untouched by them. Just stay with that quiet awareness for a few moments. Realize you are the observer, not those passing clouds. And whenever you're ready, just slowly open your eyes. Section 4. Building a fearless identity. Okay, welcome back. That feeling of detachment is incredibly powerful, isn't it? But how do we actually make it last? Let's look at how we can turn that brief moment of mindfulness into permanent armor against burnout and performance anxiety. For the next 7 days, I am challenging you to build a new mental habit. Whenever you catch yourself using fused language, like saying, I am stressed, pause, diffuse it. Replace it with, I'm noticing stress. Instead of I am failing, try saying I'm experiencing a setback. Instead of I am anxious, reframe it completely to anxiety is present. I know, it sounds like a remarkably small linguistic trick, but doing this daily unlocks massive benefits. It actively trains your brain to separate your core identity from temporary, fleeting experiences. And guys, that is where true resilience actually begins. It leads to way better, clearer decisions because you aren't clouded by some existential threat to your ego. Ultimately, it unlocks consistent, sustainable performance, allowing you to chase excellence without your value rising and falling with every single little defeat. We don't have to stop being athletes, or founders, or high achievers. We just have to stop believing our worth is permanently tied to the scoreboard. As we wrap up this explainer today, I want to leave you with one final powerful realization. If you detach your worth from your work, your identity becomes free. And when your identity is free, your performance becomes absolutely fearless. So, who could you become and what could you achieve if you finally took off the jersey?